beautiful creature. What an absolute typical Belgium carp. Just over 33 pounds. She's been absolutely crapping out particles, chopped tigers, boilies. She's obviously had a good old scoff on the bait last night. It's day 2 of my week trip. Summer 18, it's August, and yeah, I had a grassy yesterday, a few hours into the trip, a 22 pound grassy, not quite exactly what we're after, but this is definitely what I'm after. 33 pound, typical Belgium, dark, Carp. Yes. She fell to my ever consistent double 18mm crave boilies wrapped, because you've got the crays and the mitten crabs in this canal. 25 pound coated braid, just short, about 4 or 5 inches, size 4 mugger hook. Yeah, this rattled off a couple of hours ago. So I'll just wait for it to get light so I could stick in front of the camera. Day 3, carp number 3, the trip. Lovely, chunky common, as you can see, just shy of 29 pounds. God, and boy did this fish fight. Just before first light, 5:30. Oh, it just went on run after run after run. I just could not get it up into the upper layers. It just kept hugging the bottom. I really thought I was into one of the big fish, but it's still absolute cracker, and I was just elated when eventually I did see it boil on the surface. It went on a couple more runs, and then eventually it tired. And after about 15 minutes, I slipped the net under this. Exactly the same tactics and rig as the previous one, the 33. So yeah, can't go playing, can I? 33 mirror and a 28 common. It's definitely quietened down here with the fish. They're not showing as much and that, so I think I might be looking for a new spot in a couple of hours. And my brekkie, and then see if I can find where they've gone on this canal. If not on this one, then maybe I'll go on to another canal. So I'll bake this up and then maybe return later on in the week. Yeah. Oh, yes. We'll see how this goes with the noise behind me. It's a main road going into an industrial estate, so lots of lorries and vans. So that might be interesting. I suppose to recap on the last day or two, so this is day 5 and we're now on canal number 3, and I should really cover yesterday. So yesterday was the 4th day, which coincided with being my birthday as well, and I spent that on the V channel trying to hope to catch one of those monster gorgeous looking mirrors, or commons even, to be honest. They're all good looking fish in the V, but no, I had a constellation of a 2 pound common. I thought it was a bream bite, a stuttery little take, but it was actually a common. Nice little wasp there, attacking me, lovely. So yeah, at least I didn't blank on my birthday, I suppose. So yeah, and I carried on. I did another night there and that, but no joy. And it was a bit of a nightmare. The first night on there, I was just kept wiped out by all sorts of debris coming drifting down on the canal. Trees, just rubbish, just kept taking me out, wiping me lines out and that, and I had to keep resetting them and that. And then last night I didn't have all the debris and that, but it just, yeah, for some reason just weren't there, or I just didn't get a bite, and I decided time to move. And so I thought I'll try this canal. So now this one's near the Dutch border. I won't name it because some of the locals they like to keep these things quiet, and I don't want to upset anyone, so I'll just keep it to myself. or keep it quiet, shall we say, anyway. But supposedly there's a couple of good fish in here. I don't know if they still are or not. People aren't too sure if they're dead or people keep it quiet and that. I'm not sure, but I've come down to have a look. I see 4 fish. I've seen a couple of koi. There was a little koi, about 15 pounds, and then a larger one, a large orange one, about 25 plus. And then there was 2 commons, one mid-20 and one I'm guesstimating at mid-30, maybe a bit bigger, I'm not sure. It had a nice sort of white back to it. It sort of stood out in the Potomac-eating weed that it was mooching around him with the koi. The koi give it away basically. So, and that's to the left of how I'm sitting, on that third of the canal, if you like. I'm in the middle section, and down there the banks are lower to the canal, and there's a lot of swims down there. They all look like they've been worked on and whatever. I decided I didn't want to risk upsetting anyone turning up to bait up or fish or whatever if I'm in their swim, because quite a lot of people over in Europe, that's how they tend to fish. So I decided to come up here in the middle section and just hope that maybe the fish will move down at night, along the channel, up and down, and because this area doesn't look so fished. It's all long grass and that. So, but I'm not a million miles from where I see the fish, and I'll give it the night and see what happens basically. If it doesn't happen, don't see nothing, whatever, then in the morning I'll pack up, put all the gear in the motor, and I'll have a quick mooch up down by the weed beds where I see them. And if no one's down there and that, I might give it a go for a couple of hours in the morning. The 2 commons and a little koi, they were just mooching around in the weed. They weren't really doing much, to be honest, just in the upper layers. But the big koi, like I say, I'm guessing mid-20. That was having a munch. That was clouds of silk coming up, and that he was definitely heads down, tails up in a different weed bed. But he was on his own. But yeah, I actually went to have a go when I see them and that. My car was further down the track, a couple of miles, so I had to walk back, get my car, drive all the way down there. And by the time I'd actually got there, one of the locks was being emptied, and a cruise barge was coming through. Load of people on having their lunch and drinks and whatever, and that. It was packed out, 2-tier barge. And with that, obviously the canal was all moving, and all the weed was all flat down on the ground with all the pull of the water into the lock, and the fish had gone. So I've missed the moment. If I'd been there maybe 20-30 minutes before or something with the gear, I might have may have been able to at least had an opportunity, snuck a little rig down in the margin, or a little PVA bag or stick. But no, I've been down there a couple of times in the last couple of hours, and they've not returned. So I've decided I'll get set up here for the night and see what happens. I'm just going to probably do a night. It's just sort of get my bearings, see where it is, see what I find, and that, and maybe for future trips come back for more, have another go. I've got a few more nights left of the trip still, and I've baited up the first canal where I caught those 3 fish, the 22, 28 and 33. So I baited up that swim with about 5 kilos before I left, and I baited up another swim with 5 kilos as well. So I've got a couple of options there basically for the end of the trip before I head home. Fingers crossed, I might get something tonight. We'll see. So tactics for tonight. I think I'm just going to go light with both rods. I'm just going to fish bottom bait out the bag basically with little PVA bags or stringers. There's silkweed. I've had a good lead around on that. It's quite a lot of silkweed, even on the marginal ledges, the gravelly ledges. You can feel the gravel, the marker bumping along, but when I pull the marker lead in, there's still silkweed on it. So I think PVA bags or PVA sticks is probably what I'm going to do on each rod, and just a little light scattering, just a handful of boilies around each rod. That's all I'm going to do. I've clipped up as well, so I've had a lead around and cast across, and got the distance from where I was happy with on the marker rod, and then I've done the wraps, and then done the same on the rod with the mono, and obviously get a bit of stretch on the mono and that, and just tested that out and got a good nice drop on that. So yeah, I'm happy, and that just helped me. So if any barges come through during the night in the dark, I'm not having to guess. I'm not just sort of flicking it across that far margin and hitting and hoping, as it were. If you can't see you can see it now, but it'll be dark, and you won't know the distance off that far margin. You could be a metre or two short or long of where you want to be. So I've got it all clipped up. I know exactly which that tall tree there is what I'm going to be hitting. So that's a nice tip to remember if you're doing it these canals and that. Obviously, and the other one will be in the margins. That won't be so bad, of course, if any barges do come through. Not everyone rechucks or whatever, or resets their rigs when the barges come through, but I prefer it myself. Just make sure everything's set perfectly and make sure that hook's not burred over or dinked on a bit of gravel and that, because although the lead may not move, the rig and your hook bait invariably will. That'll move around, drift around and that, and there's a chance that hook, as it lands, will dink on a stone or something and burr over, and that's all you want. You come all this way, travelling over and that, and you get lazy and you just leave your rods as the barges go through. So no, I'll be resetting them after the last barge. And, fingers crossed that might work for me tonight. Fish number 5 of the trip. I've come back, as you can see from the background, to the first swim after I pre-baited 3 days ago when I left, and it's turned up. 23 pound mirror, lovely jubbly, really nice looking fish. Same rig, same hook bait, good old crave. And I've got 3 more nights to go, so it's very quiet here. I've not seen a lot of activity fish showing. I heard one sound like a good fish around midnight. The rod ripped off just before first light around 6 o'clock this morning. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do. I'm sort of umming and ahhing. Do I stay? Do I do another night? I think I'll probably do one more night and then I'll reassess. It's Friday now, so all the weekend anglers are going to turn up. So I'll do one more night. So, right. And I think with that, with her flinching, we're going to return. Right, I thought I'd talk about the bait I've been using over here and sort of the reasons why I've been using the type of bait that I have. So first of all, I'll start off with the crave. So these are the boilies that I've been using, the bulk of the bait. I've been using them in 15, 18 and 20 mil whole, and I've been crumbing it all up into bits and pieces as well. And where I am at the moment, I've been putting in a kilo and a half of these every day. So that's the boilies. With that, I then have the mixed particles, and I'll put in the whole 2.5 kilo jar with the kilo of boilies into the bucket. And then chopped tiger nuts. I'll probably put in about a quarter of a jar to a whole jar of the mixed particles. And the fish do seem to like this. So 2 of the fish were passing out the chopped tiger nuts in the sling, so that's a good sign. I'll then top that up with some more hemp, so hemp and snails. I really do like this stuff. The small snails. I think this is the specimen one. So this is 4 mil snails as opposed to the larger ones. So that's the one I like, and I'll put that in the bucket as well. Now this is what I like using and sort of bind it all up, make it nice gloop. Is the grubby ground bait. And again, I'll probably put in about a quarter to a third of the bag and mix all that up. And then finally, I'll add 2 liquids to that. I'll use the CSL liquid, a nice good glug of that, and the hemp oil. And then I'll mix that all up, stir that all up. Probably the day after I've baited up. So if you say I've baited up on a Saturday evening, once I've baited all that up, I'll then put all that in again in the bucket on Saturday evening, ready for Sunday. So it's all been soaked and stewing for 24 hours in the bucket, basically. So the bait started to wash out, all all the flavour and it's been washing out, but it's also been sucking up all the particles and the oils and that. So that's what I've been using on this canal anyway. And the reason why I've gone down that approach is, and I fished this canal before with just boilies only, and I've found you struggle to actually keep the fish feeding, keep the fish in the area of just boilies, because the amount of bream, crayfish and mitten crabs in this particular canal, that basically they'll get through the boilies really quick, but with the particles, all the broken up boilies and all the bits and pieces all in the silt, you know, I just in my head, there's food signals and there's food sources out there, so if and when the carp come in to the area, that there's food out there. If the boilies have all gone, if the the crayfish and the bream have had all the boilies and some of the particles, there should hopefully still be some bits and pieces left when the carp come in. That's my thinking anyway. And I've had 4 fish doing that, so it seems to be working so far. And the first 3 days I put 4 kilos of that mixture in. So on the Saturday, the Sunday and the Monday, so about 12 kilos in total. The 4 kilos was at the end before I left on Monday to go to another canal. I did 2 nights there and then a night on another canal, and then come back here last night, and I put in about 3 kilos. I weren't sure at first, so I put in about 3, and I fished the afternoon with just hook baits, just to see what would happen, to see if any of the bait had gone and that, and I was getting grayed. All I had was like the wraps, the bait in between the wraps had gone, and I had a pop up on a chod on the other one. It was a real rock hard pop up, and that had all been clawed away. So I can only take from that a lot of the bait, if not all the bait, had gone. So either carp, catfish, bream, greys, whatever, it's all gone. There's a lot of fish in this particular canal, so I think it really pays to keep that bait going in and keep them fed and topped up. On the other 2 canals, it's a completely different approach. Even though they're bigger fish, there's not as many of them, and it's a bigger canal. They're highly pressured fish, so that was sort of fishing PVA bags, good old-fashioned PVA sticks and stringers. That's what I was thinking of, stringers, 3-4 bait stringers, or just maybe a few baits and a tin of the Hempton snails. That's worked a couple of times on me, but not on this occasion. It didn't. But yeah, so that's just what I'll go through. That's my bait for this trip. And this is August, so it's still hot. Fish are probably just starting to feed again after all their spawning activities and that. If it was later in the year, October, I would probably be actually putting in more than that, probably about 5 kg a day. So go, nice big gloopy slop. See if the crayfish and the crabs can get through that lot.